They always talk about massive action. It wasn't even massive action. It was minimal action. The least possible thing I could do to get off the floor to make anything happen. Action is easier said than done when you're depressed. So you got to figure out how you can trick yourself into doing the smallest amount of action to actually like move forward.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Resilient Real Estate Agent Podcast. Today, you're in for a treat. We've got a good friend of ours and a mentor of mine, Jesse, who's going to be on this call. I'm going to introduce him in just a minute. Before we do that, I just want to remind everybody, please subscribe if you're liking what we're creating here. When you subscribe, it tells us what's working, what's not working, and leave some comments. Same thing, tells us what's working, what's not working, so we can create more of what's going to help you grow your business and improve your life. And on that note, Allison and I, every single week, we're teaching classes. We're posting some of them here on the YouTube channel designed to help real estate agents build resiliency, grow their businesses, and just learn how to be better people and enjoy life a little bit more. That's what we're all about. So, and that is why we have asked our friend Jesse Zagorsky to be on this call here today. I'm very grateful.
Before you introduce me, I just want to say I subscribed twice already. Just so you know. So it's not like that's
Okay.
not like a holocaust. I mean, I think anyway, continue.
Hey, listen, I appreciate that. See, I mean, that just speaks to Jesse right there. He doesn't just subscribe once; he subscribes twice. So
subscribe early, subscribe often.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Like it. Subscribe early, subscribe often. I might have to steal that one.
Go for it.
So I'm very grateful that our paths crossed, Jesse. We are now both working together here at EXP. Jesse ran his own brokerage with his mom for a number of years, built that whole thing up, and eventually kind of burned out. And we're going to talk all about what that looked like, and took a little break and came back. And now he has not only grown a massive team here at EXP, a massive organization here, but more than that, one of the things that inspires me about you, Jesse, is your resiliency. I actually have a quote. It's here. It lives here. I think you told this to me probably 2 years ago. But the quote is, "I am a creative, solution-oriented, problem-solving machine." And I think that right there speaks to what you bring to the table for our organization. You are always engaged in trying to help people grow. And so I can't say enough good things about you. And so I'm really excited to hear what you have to say all about resilience today. I know we're going to get a lot of great tidbits. So thank you for being here.
Well, you're welcome. It's good to be here with you guys. I love when people quote me back to me. That's fun because that actually what you have written there, that was one of the affirmations, and I used to have a few of them, but that was one of the affirmations that probably stuck with me longer than any other one. I probably said that out loud, wrote it down thousands upon thousands of times, and it became part of my DNA and who it might have already been who I was, but it really became how I modeled myself and what I did. And so I'll weave that through. We can make that the title of the episode. We can call it the world's longest title, right? I'm a creative, solution-oriented, problem-solving machine.
Yeah. So where'd that come from? Let's start there really quick because, for me, the reason that I look at it is when I am like fixated on the negative and fixated on the problems, this helps remind me that there's a solution out there. Like, where did this come from? Why did this become so relevant to you?
That's a great question. I've talked about this a bunch. I don't know if anyone's ever asked me where it came from. So I was in a coaching company years ago, well-known coach, big coach in the industry. It still exists. This coach still exists years and years ago. And I was sitting in a big room. I'm 46 now. I was probably 25, 26-ish, right? I've been doing real estate for 22 years. So I'm 25, 26 at the time. I'm sitting in this room, the big ballrooms where agents go and they hang out. And there's like hundreds upon hundreds in this room. And everyone shows up. And day one, they're a little nervous. By day two, they're like, this is so cool. We're gonna go make $1 million. And then they go home and they don't do anything, right? Like one of those seminars. Okay. So I'm sitting in one of those ballrooms. And it's a really good seminar. Like it's a good conference, good whatever it was, good summit. And we were talking about affirmations, talking about morning routines. And I know this call, we're not going to talk morning routine too much because we could do an entire 30 minutes just on morning routines and affirmations. But I was 25 and I was very easily coachable and impressionable. And I saw these people on stage who all said, you should start every morning by finding someone to be your affirmation partner. You should call that person and you should not just say them, you should shout your affirmations out loud on the phone super early in the morning. I'm just giving you the details because it's legit. I was like, okay, sounds good. But you tell me to go stand on the corner with a chicken suit on and go bark like a duck, and I will. And that's gonna be sounds good to me. Let's go do it. Like whatever. So zero questions. This was like I'm a high energy guy, but I was never in my life had done affirmations, never been Tony Robbins, none of that stuff. Okay. So I'm 25 and I find someone who's 10 years older than me to be my affirmation partner. And I started calling him at like, at the time, I don't remember how early it was. It was early enough. It was probably 6 a.m. But in my mind, it might as well have been 3 in the morning because I wanted to be a rock star back then. Like legit wanted to play guitars up all night. I was like, it was like the middle of the night. I can't, like it's like dark outside. I'm like getting up, and I was living with my girlfriend at the time, and I'd have to go downstairs into our parking garage to go in my car to find a place I could like chant affirmations because otherwise I'd wake her up like literally. And I remember my neighbors walk by occasionally. Like I'd be like, like sitting in my car, and my neighbors be like, "You're insane, dude! Like I
Jesse's
don't know what
losing
you're
his
doing."
mind.
He's a lot, but like I'm telling you this detailed story because the people who listen to this podcast, I can imagine, have questions about mindset, right? You've led our other one of our podcasts on Mindset Monday for years, Dan. Like I know mindset's a big part of this resiliency in this world. This funny story aside, mindset matters in everything you do. And so I don't wake up and chant affirmations anymore. I found other things that to internalize and ways to do it. But depending on where you're at in your journey, I just started writing affirmations that other people gave to me. I would write
Yeah.
things out. I would like take the things and somewhere as you wrote them out and said them every morning and said them every morning, I combined two or three of them together and my brain made these connections. And I'm pretty sure I made this one up, but I think it's smushed together from about six other things that it's not an original thought. It's like six ones put together in one. And it came out as I'm a creative, solution oriented problem solving machine.
Yeah.
I'm a creative, solution oriented problem solving machine. It's like less than 10 words. Sounds
Yeah.
like a mouthful, but when you really break it down, I was able to, in a single sentence, convey the entire experience that I wanted to create for my clients, that I wanted that agent to agent. It summed it all up. And so for you, it's interesting because to me, it wasn't about not focusing on the negative, right? Like I know you said for you, when you tend to the negative and it helps you reframe. For me, it was just about staying open-minded to possibilities, and that in any situation, maybe I'm saying the same thing as you, but in every situation, there is a path forward. It may
Yeah.
not be what you expect, but there's always a path forward. And if you stay grounded and open to the possibilities, they show up. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, and I know we'll come back to this because I've already got some questions about it, but we'll come back to it a little bit later. But it's a perfect example of resiliency isn't it's it's complicated, it's complex, and it's constantly evolving depending on the situations that we're in our lives. But I think it brings up this idea of focal points. Finding something to kind of grab onto so that we're continuously moving forward. Because if we don't have that anchor, it's really hard to be resilient.
100%, man. And you actually mentioned something in the introduction when we were talking. You said, you know, I was in real estate, I took a trip, I came back, and you mentioned that I, burnt out and took a trip. I actually didn't burn out before so I've been in real estate 22 years. I took an entire year off and moved to Thailand, my wife and I, before we had kids, and I sold houses in San Diego while living in Thailand, working like 1 to 2 hours a week, which is probably how we should have started this podcast because that always gets people's attention. Like, I didn't carry a cell phone for an entire year, and I still
Wow.
sold houses. This is 2013 to 2014, but I didn't burn out before that. I actually was pretty excited about life, and things were going pretty well. I consciously, strategically made a decision to leave, and when I came back, that's when the burnout happened. But I'm kind of jumping ahead in this, but
So
that's
let's talk about that a little bit. Let's break that down a little bit. So,
yeah.
what was the impetus to go to Thailand?
Okay. So I've got a buddy, and I didn't know these terms at the time, but I've got a buddy who says this all the time. And maybe he got this from some other coach who got it from someone I know where it comes from. He says, there's three ways to go through life: drifting, driven, right? Drifting, driven, and by design. And drifting, we know what that means. All of us have friends who are drifting. Maybe someone listening to the podcast might be, but probably not. But people who are drifting don't tend to listen to podcasts on resiliency, although maybe, right? Because drifting is going through life. Driven is probably where most often we see in real estate. And a lot of people listening to this might be on the driven category. They're two sides of the same coin. It's not better or worse. It's just drifting, you flip it around, you get driven, where really what he recommends is by design, right? By design is where you're creating the life you're looking for. It's not just you're driven because you were picked on as a kid, because you came from nothing, you built yourself up because you got a chip on your shoulder because no one can tell you no. Whatever fear, whatever anxiety you have that you're channeling into positive action, right? That's driven. There's nothing wrong with that. Most of the top producers I know are driven by fear and anxiety. They just channel it into something positive. But by
Hmm.
design is where I ended up in Thailand. Okay,
Okay.
my wife, you're here with your wife, which I love that you're doing this with your wife, by the way. It's pretty cool. Um,
And eventually she's going to ask a question.
oh, good.
I'm
Oh,
Allison,
I'm loving this. This is
okay,
great.
cool.
Keep
So,
going.
all right, so my wife, who is a therapist, right? My wife's a therapist, and I were designing our life back in 2011, and she has levels of licensure that you get as a therapist. And I was at the time selling bank owned homes. So I got into real estate in 2004, built up a good retail business, learned about internet marketing, did a lot of lead generation, and built a sales team. And then in 2008, the wheels fell off the market. All the foreclosures came up. I said, cool, let's learn what a foreclosure is. I figured out how to spell REO. It took me a while. I got it. And I'm like, okay, now let's go sell some bank owned homes. That's a real estate joke, Allison. I'm just kidding. REO is real estate owned. I don't know why that's a foreclosure anyway. So REO, spelled REO. And and I got deep into that. So from 2008 to 2012, I sold hundreds of houses a year. I ran a really big machine, and I was no longer selling houses. I was actually selling widgets that happened to be house shaped, which suited my personality just fine. Like most of them were vacant. Like it's not like I was throwing people out. Like I mean, like literally, it was like you had these hedge funds and bank servicers that owned these vacant properties that needed us to like get rid of them. And so I ran that, and I didn't burn out on that. I just made a lot of money in a short period of time and talked to my wife, who was getting her next level of licensure. And we're like, we should go have an adventure before we have kids, because we knew we wanted a family. Well, my wife knew she wanted a family, and I thought I would have one someday. And she knew it was going to be sooner rather than later. And since
Right.
in a marriage, you probably know this: if you compromise, you're going to do what your wife says. I did, and it worked out well, right? Because otherwise, I'd be a 60-year-old dad with a toddler, and that wouldn't have worked out very good for anybody. So grateful we had the kids when we did, but we said let's have an adventure. And so she was going to get her next level of license, and my REO business was winding down in 2012. Foreclosures were going away, and I said, let's go move to Thailand. And we
All
just
right.
went, and we're like, if we hate it, we'll keep going east until we get back to California. But we never left Thailand, and we've spent a year traveling all over Southeast Asia. And I'd spent the year previously putting systems in place so that I could still sell houses, working 1 to 2 hours a week.
Yeah. Okay. So you go to
That's brilliant.
Thailand.
Yeah, and that's a whole separate podcast as well. So we need a podcast on, I forget what I said earlier, but we also need one on how to run a business remotely, working on 1 to 2 hours a week. That's a whole separate podcast
Love
course.
it.
If anyone's listening and they want to know, just text, DM, make a comment to Dan. We'll get connected. I can tell you what I did. It's not as hard as you think. It worked pretty well. All right.
Yeah. All right. So you go to Thailand. You have a life
Yep.
altering experience there. You come back. Tell us about when you burned out. Just kind of give us a quick synopsis of like what that was like, where it came from, and then I think even more importantly, what did you do to overcome that?
Yeah. Well, this is where we get to the whole theme of your podcast on resiliency. And I know that you said I had a life altering experience, but I have to spend 1 minute to unpack why it was life altering and how important it was in Thailand. So Thailand is a really cheap country, like really cheap. Like when we were in one space, because we traveled all over the Southeast Asia, we would spend $1,500 per month for the two of us to live in an incredible place, 10th floor, modern place, view of the mountains. We'd eat out every night, every lunch, every dinner we ate out. We like never cooked for like a year, and we got 2 hour massages like 5 days a week.
Jeez.
Oh my God, I want to go there.
Let's go to
Fif-
Thailand, Allison.
Yeah.
$1,500. By the way, it probably hasn't even changed in 10 years. It's still probably the same. So now you can get, so we had this incredible life for a year. I didn't work. I came back with more money than I left with. Like it was incredible. And I came back to San Diego and I bought a house My wife was pregnant. We had our first child. He's now 10, but back then a newborn. And I decided to ramp my sales team up because I was looking for leverage. And I went from a year of the least financial responsibilities of my entire life. Like both of you, can you rewind in your memory? How far back do you have to go to get to a point in time when you didn't worry about money at some level?
Oh, like before I was born. I don't know. Came out of the womb like, oh shit, how am I gonna eat?
Dude, but that's legit for most people. For most people, like if they really pause, it's probably somewhere in your teenage years, about the time when you realize, like, oh, my parents have to work, or else if we don't make money, like I may not be able to live in this house. And maybe it's not till college or 20s. For somewhere between 12 and 20 is about when that realization hits, and you're like, oh, this is a life sentence. Like I am going to be required in our modern society to do something to make money so that I'm not homeless and I can
Mhm.
feed myself and I don't starve. So I I mean, really, it's like Thailand was that year for me. I'm 46 now, so it must have been I was about 34. And I had an entire year of being not just retired, like mentally on vacation. Like I had no worries. I had no stress for a year. And you guys have kids. Was it relaxing when you had your first child?
No.
Did that make life easier? Were you like, dude, now I can just kick back. This is amazing. Like,
No, I think we looked at each other and we were like, what did we just do?
dude, it was an ocean.
It's a world changer, like upside down snow globe, like, oh my God.
Right. So
Yeah.
I left a year of like total freedom. Coming through the airport in Bangkok, my wife was literally so morning sickness that they were rolling through the airport in a wheelchair. We didn't know she had morning. We didn't know she was pregnant. Like we wanted to have a kid, but like we just thought she had gotten food poisoning again. Turns out she was pregnant. Okay, so they rolled her through the airport in a wheelchair. I didn't think they were gonna let her on the plane. Like they made her get a doctor screening so she didn't like die on the plane. She looked that bad. She was like pasty white and barely able to. Anyway, so got home. She's pregnant. Bought a house. We'd already bought the house sight unseen from Thailand, but still, it's another responsibility. And I wanted to ramp my sales team back up, which because I'd run a team before and I knew that was the best road to leverage. I thought that was the best road to leverage. I didn't know that was all I knew. And so from 2014 to 2019, I poured my heart and soul into that sales team. And I started burning out slowly somewhere around 2016 to 2017, 2018, because I was on stage with another coaching company I won't mention, but I was one of their main trainers. And I was on stage talking about how to build a team, how to scale a team, how to leverage, how to convert online leads. And guess what? My agents at the time were not doing that great converting leads. Like they had some good months and some bad months, but like my identity was wrapped up in being this incredible top producer, but I felt really disingenuous because I didn't believe in the model anymore. Does that make sense? And so when
Yeah.
you talk about resiliency and having this anchor, I think you have to look at, if you zoom out, what your identity is and what your expectations are and what happens in real life that matches. And I had this perfect storm that was brewing and building for years of I didn't enjoy what I was doing anymore. I was felt like I was babysitting my team agents, some good agents at sometimes. Like I'm not going to knock them all, but like a lot of times as a team leader, it was my fault as a lead. Like I know things now that I probably would structure it differently. But at the time, I spent a lot of time babysitting and chasing down agents for stuff. I was taking calls at 10 p.m. at night. Like I'd have an agent on my team who would go show a property at 10 in the morning, and 10 o'clock at night, you get a call or a text like, hey, how do you write this offer? And you're like, dude,
Right.
you
Right.
showed the house at 10 in the morning. What did you do for the last
Right.
12 hours? Why am I getting a
Yep.
call, an emergency call at 10 o'clock at night? This sucks. And I've got kids now, and I want to be, and like my North Star, I know I'm preaching to the choir because I know you pretty well, Dan. My North Star is my family. Like my wife, my kids, I structure my life around them. I put my cell phone in a drawer every night from 6 to 8 o'clock at night. I still do it. Like phone goes in a drawer so I can be present with my kids. I started that years ago because when I was in Thailand, I spent a year without a phone. You start to reimagine your relationship with technology, right? Anyway, so build up to this burnout. 2019. Let's see, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon right now as we're recording this. I think I can record. I think I can say this without getting too terribly emotional, but we'll find out. This is a real story, dude.
Yeah.
2019, January 2019, and I know you know the answer, but I'm gonna have you guess anyway. Allison, maybe you don't know the story. You can guess.
Okay. Hit
All
me.
right. I have 21 agents on my sales team. It's January of 2019. We had a pretty decent 2018. Made some money, sold some houses. January of 2019 comes. We have a pretty bad month. Like the real estate market in San Diego slows just slightly. I don't really know what happened. It was like a weird blip, but also I'd done some things on my team strategically that separate podcast, lessons I learned. I knew how I screwed it up, but we had a bad month. What's the lowest amount of houses you think 21 agents can sell, Allison?
Okay, the only reason why I think I know this is because I was listening to the class that you were, yeah, last Thursday. Zero. I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Zero.
that's like
Zero.
that is unbelievable,
Dude,
especially when
it's
you're in a place of where you were. You had 22, I think is what you said, agents, like insane. Like I can only imagine that like just everything just dropped for you.
free fall, free fall. Like my identity as a team leader and a trainer. Like I'm this successful team leader. I've run the team since 2004. Okay. I'm 12 years deep in, no, not 12. Gosh, I'm now maybe I started I started my team maybe in 2005. So 2005 to 2019, I'm 14 years deep into running a team. I've been on stages all across the country training people on how to run teams. And in my mind, in my head, there is no way I could be running a team so bad that they would sell zero houses with 21 agents. They should have fallen upon a transaction by accident. And my monthly business expense, not personal, my business expense at the time was about $40,000 a month. So I don't know people listening if that's a lot or a little to you. To me, I took a $40,000 business loss in January of 2019.
That's huge.
In February, I took a half shutout and I lost 20 grand. So by March 1st, I'm 60 grand in the hole. Not only have I not paid my personal expenses, like I'm living off savings, but I'm negative $60,000. Okay. I've got a newborn baby who's about 6 months old and a 3-year old at the time. I've got 21 agents on my team. I've got a coach who's telling me what to do, who I'm frankly not really listening to because I don't know if I didn't agree with him. I wasn't being coachable. It's probably on me, not him. But like, dude, I'm in free fall. And it got really dark, like really fast. And even though I own a couple investment properties, I had some savings, none of that mattered. And I'm saying that because I've talked to people who truly have no money, like you're close to being ready to be thrown out. I wasn't there, but mentally I was in the same spot of like, I'm about to be homeless. Does that make
Totally.
sense?
Yeah,
It doesn't. And so for anybody listening, it doesn't matter what your actual circumstances are. It's what you're feeling that's your reality.
right.
And so I would go to work, like I would drive to my office, it's 3 minutes from my house, and I would sit at my desk and I was out of production. I'm like, I need to get back into production. I need to lead by example. And I would like prospect and I would start hitting the phones. And then about half an hour later, I would get really depressed and I would run out of energy and I would get under my desk and I'd sit there for a while and lay on the floor. And then I'd get back, legit. I would get in and I'd do this cycle where I'm just like trying to like prospect and lead by example. And I'd stop talking to my team. I'm like, you guys suck. I need to go make some money and come. You can come with me if you want. I can care of whatever. And at 2 in the afternoon, I have this light. I'm not sitting in my office right now. I'm in my home. I'm actually my wife's home office. If anybody's watching a video, it looks like a therapist office because I'm in my wife's therapy office. All right. So there's this light that would come through the window at 2 in the afternoon. Can you picture like a really like warm beam of light? Like you ever feel that? You're like,
Yeah.
and it would start to like, I'd feel so warm that I could feel myself like melting in my chair. And there's this little pool on the floor. At 2 to 3 o'clock every afternoon for like a month, I would curl up on the floor in my office, just in a ball like a cat, and in a depression, fall asleep and take a nap. Like it was dark. I
That's
mean,
so dark.
dude, actually, I'm not.
And
I keep saying it's
also,
dark.
like, I just want to, can we just say also that, like, you're being so vulnerable? Thank you for sharing that because that's not something that men share, that they are curled up in the fetal position on the floor.
I mean, it's real, and that's I keep saying it's dark, but honestly, that wasn't even the dark part. That was just physiology. My body was needed to sleep because I
It
was
was,
sad and I couldn't handle reality. Like the
yeah,
real dark part was like on the drive from my house to my office. If you want me to be vulnerable, I don't know if I told this on the call. I think I told this on the call the other day. I've said this a few times. I drive from my house to my office past some train tracks, and I legitimately would stop and think like, if I just turn right instead of left, and I just sit here, this would all stop. And and that's real. Like that was where I was, and it scares me today to even think about. Now I got a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old thinking about like not being there for my kids. Like it scares me where I was. And if anybody's listening
absolutely.
and you're in a dark place, like just know, please reach out. Like there's people who can help get you through it. I had people that like I would call and they would talk me down, talk me through it. Like it was it's scary being an entrepreneur and being on your own. Like there's no safety net.
Yeah, I mean, I've shared my story a lot, and there's similarities in a way, and
Yeah.
you know, so and thank you for sharing that. I mean, it's important to share these things, right? Like I've told you this before, where like I go through these challenging times as a leader, and I come to you and I'm like, man, I'm really struggling right now. And you're like, well, hey, let me share with you something similar and how I got through it. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so helpful. Sometimes it's just helpful to know that somebody else is experiencing that. One I discovered when I went through, I was flat out depressed for a long time. Nobody knew it. I was internalizing all of it. So I carried it well, but I was disaster inside.
Wow.
And, you know, um, it, it's it was really hard. And what I discovered when I started talking about it is that I wasn't alone. There's
Yeah.
so many people who are experiencing something very similar. So if that's you, just know there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like I don't live in that place anymore. Jesse doesn't live in that place anymore. So
Yeah.
what was it, Jesse, for you that helped you bridge that gap? Because sometimes when we're in that hole, it's even if people are extending invitations for help, we get so fixated on the horribleness of everything that it's hard to dig out of it. So how'd you
So,
shift?
so, so I would say at some levels, and I don't really believe in luck. Luck is the meeting of preparation and opportunity. But I would say I do feel an element of luck, or there was someone looking out for me because as depressed as I was able to get myself into just enough action that the even if I wasn't excited, even if I was depressed, my action would carry me forward. Does that make sense? Like I had enough of a self-preservation instinct in me that was
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't really want to die. I just want the pain to stop. How do I make
Mm-hmm.
the pain stop? I just need to like I've had so many before I ran a team, I was an agent, a solo agent. And even when I had a team, I was still prospecting being like I was the ISA for my team for many years. Like I have hardwired the repetitions of a lot of work ethic and a lot of like prospecting. And so I think for that, it just they talk about you default back to the level of your conditioning. I just defaulted back to like, I don't know what to do as a team leader. My team's clearly sucking right now, but I know how to make money by myself. And as depressed as I am, I know I can pick up the phone and push dial or
Mm-hmm.
text, whatever. Like, and I would do it until like the short term burst of energy would stop. And so, and I had some really good mentors. I had some good people in my life that I would call and be like, dude, this sucks. I hate this. Like, just make three calls, just make one phone call, make three phone calls, just and text me when you're done. So I had a little bit of support like that, which was those two things combined. Got to get out of your own head and get into action. But action is easier said than done when you're depressed. So you got to figure out how you can trick yourself into doing the smallest amount of action to actually like move forward. Um, and I just and then the belief came through the action. Like I didn't shift my belief. I wasn't so resilient. I think this is back to this resiliency piece. Everyone's wired different. Like resiliency is, I mean, gosh, I know we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes, but without going down a side note, I, uh, I was a big brother, like big brother for like that like program, not like my own sibling, but like it's called CASA in San Diego for a couple different people when I was in my 20s. I'm still in contact with one of them, one wonderful man now. He's in his 30s, really, really, really cool guy. But I got firsthand experience with all these kids who were in the foster care system. And you'd watch what would happen where some kids would rise and just like they had this crappy situation life handed them and they would just thrive and some kids would end up in jail. What's the difference, right? I think that's where resiliency comes down to it. And is it part of you? Is it environmental? Is it your mentors? I think it's all of it. I think it's
Yeah,
all
but
of it.
and that's part of why we're doing this podcast is because sharing stories like yours, that's by the way, that's such a great piece right there. And what helped you succeed and create resilience, like you said, is different for other people. But what I heard you talk about is action. Action, some action. Not like your business didn't, on March 1st, you decided I'm going to take action and by March 2nd, you were back on top and everything was hunky
Dude,
dory. That's not how it works. Like there was an extended period of
dude,
time, I'm sure.
it was the middle by the middle of the summer. I was just starting to dig myself out of the hole. By the end of the year, I made $180,000, like net positive for me and the team, $180,000, which was massive considering the hole I started in and the deficit. I didn't have my own personal pipeline when I started, so I was so grateful, and that's why I think there's a little bit of that element of someone looking out for you, you know. But like
Yeah.
truly, it was. they always talk about massive action. It wasn't even massive action. It was minimal action, the least possible thing I could do to get off the floor to make anything happen. And over time, I got into more and more action.
And
But I
that's
think,
it. It's
yeah,
the consistency of just small action got you to where
yeah.
you needed to be, but you didn't see the results of that immediately. It took time. And the reality is you had a choice. You had a choice. You could choose to go the train track option, or you could choose to just kind of give up and woe is me and I'm the victim
Yep.
and just slowly wilt on the vine, or you had the choice to take action and try to make things better, and you chose to take action, and ultimately things got better for you.
Well, I mean, when you're trying to overcome anything like this, I think you actually just gave me an idea. I never thought to put it into words this way, but telling this story is so helpful. There's just two different ways to tell it. When you're going through it, you want to tell it privately. You want to tell it one on one.
Mm.
But I think a lot of people I've watched in my life, like I got a phone call. Well, actually, I don't want to give any identifying details, but I got a phone call recently from someone who was in a pretty tight financial situation. And unfortunately, I had no idea until it was last minute, man. Like had I known months earlier, there were so many things we could have done, right? And I felt for this person, but they didn't tell anybody. And they said, I didn't want to tell anyone, didn't want anyone to know. So I think when you're going through it, talking about it's really helpful, not only for your mindset, but also because you're going to get ideas and solutions and strategies and mentors. But tell it privately, because no one wants you to go on Facebook and be like, I'm super depressed. I'm going to sit on the tracks. Like that screams the wrong type of attention. This is like if you want genuine help privately with people you trust, like, but then once you're through the other side, I think it's your God-given right that you need to talk about it. And you said, thank you, Allison, but like, you have to, because the reason I went through this is so I can help others who might be in a similar situation. It sucked. I did not enjoy any moment of what I went through. But the fact that I'm on the other side of it now, and even right afterwards, but now years later, if I can help even one person who might be looking at a similar situation, I feel like it was worth it for me to go that so I could help them.
Absolutely. Well, and I
That's
think that
what, yeah.
that's like where, that's the gift is that there's on the other side, there's a place for you to look, turn around and be able to pull people
Yeah.
through that are going through the same. And I mean, I think that all three of us actually have been through a lot. And I struggled with a really serious eating disorder when I was in high school. And
Mm.
so through college, I began speaking to groups. I went to, Dan taught at Ranch View Middle School, and I went there and I talked about my story. So talking about our
Oh,
story is incredibly therapeutic, and I think it's very healing to be able to talk to others beyond just that one-on-one or with a
yeah.
therapist, because it not only brings out the light for us, but it also is helpful for other people to hear too. Because again, going back to this idea of like there's power in the idea that we're not alone. And
Yeah.
we're talking about community, really. We're talking about connection. We're talking about being able to connect with others, and not just that one-on-one, but a bigger group to be able to like lift people up. And by lifting people up, we are lifting up ourselves too.
Yeah. I love that.
Community, I don't feel like community can be over overplayed here, like overstated. How important it is. Like having community is so important. um,
I was just gonna say before you wrap this thing up. I mean, that's
yeah,
one of my favorite things that you and I said. You and I get to work on stuff together. We're partners these days through a number of things. It's our community that I love the most. So, like anyone who's listening, if they're like, "It sounds cool," dude, DM you guys. Like, I mean, I call it my real estate family. It's pretty cool. So,
yeah,
It is a family.
absolutely. It is. It is like
yep.
it truly is my family. And I just want to point out one thing. Like the we don't know what the future holds. I mean, you didn't know when you were going through that, hey, if I get through this, I'm going to impact, thousands of people in a very positive way. What you're doing right now to help my team grow,
Yeah.
is massively impactful for them,
Mm.
and that's and for me personally. And so you making the choice that you made now has ripple effects. Just as no matter what choice we make, it always has a ripple effect. The ripple effect that you're making is a very positive one. So if you're in that dark place, if you're in that place where you're not sure how to get out, number one, go get some community. Go find some people to talk to that you trust. You can run ideas past you. Reach out to me if you want. Directly find your community and just start taking slight action to move forward in the direction, because the things that almost break us, they're the things that we become the most equipped to help other people do. Ed Milet says something to that effect, right? Like the things that we've overcome that seemed the hardest, those are the things that we're most equipped to help somebody else get through. And so if you're going through it right now, congratulations. You've got an amazing opportunity on your hands. take some
100%, man.
take some action, find your people, build your community, move forward, because on the other side of whatever you're going through is a completely different life. And it's amazing.
I love it. I love it. Anything else we want to chat about today, or
No,
that feels
I
like a
would
pretty good
love.
wrap up, man? That sounds like a pretty good wrap up.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to continue to go with you. I know you got to go, so we'll have you back on for Sesh 2.0,
All
and
right, cool.
we'll dive into some other stuff. But Allison, any final words?
I thank you for sharing your story. I mean, that was I haven't heard the story. So yeah, thanks for sharing, and it's inspiring. I mean, you're always inspiring. Every time I'm around you, I'm like, oh my God, like there's this amazing vibe about you. Like I go away and I'm like vibrating. I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's just so much great positive energy that you exude. And so I just thank you for being there for us, and also thanks for being on this podcast. So
I love
appreciate
it,
you so
guys.
much.
Well, I love
Jesse,
what you guys
any
are
final
doing.
words?
Yeah, I just want to say I love what you guys are doing. So anyone who's listened this far through this episode, I better hope you're subscribing, because like if you there's a reason you were drawn to listen to this much of it, and the fact that you're this far, if you're not subscribing, make sure you go hit the subscribe button. This is not like the internet call to action. Genuinely, I want you to subscribe because I want you to hear each episode when they come out, so you can keep your mindset right. Part of your environment, right? We said community, we said action, but the other part's environment, right? Not just community, but the environment. And these days, in the modern age we live in, your environment is the media you consume as well as the people around you. And so keeping your brain fed with stuff like this is so important. So, so important. Come to a live event, get the podcast, whatever it is. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but thanks for having me, guys. This is really
Yeah.
fun.
Thanks
Thank
for
you. And
being
thanks
on
for the
here.
shout out. Yeah, the
Yeah.
subscribe.
Welcome.
Don't
Welcome.
forget to do that part.
Ding.
Jesse, thank you so much, man. We
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Okay. Bye, guys.
All right,
Thanks.
bye.